Hello, hello.
Hello and welcome to everybody. It is 80s throwback week, apparently for Josh at the beach.
Listen,
So
man.
he is chilling with his 80s gear on, mirrored sunglasses, loud hat, and an MTV shirt.
Dude,
And
right before we jump on the air, Judah breaks it to me that now I'm a middle-aged guy and I'm
right,
not no longer this young guy. So like I'm kind of deflated.
right.
Apparently I'm just trying to look cool, whatever.
So since you're a little bit deflated today, should I do most of the talking
Yeah,
during
that
today's
sounds
show?
good. I would
Right.
say, I mean, if you use that analysis, everybody would think that I was deflated every day. Come on.
Hey, so we've been having some really good shows recently, my friend.
Yeah,
I was talking with somebody. I was doing a coaching call with somebody who has a couple properties, buying a couple more properties, and we're working through some stuff. And one of the things that we talked about today was 30-second commercials and the
yeah,
importance of having a 30-second commercial for when you're buying real estate, telling people about how you buy real estate, and having a 30-second commercial for raising money, because those are the two things you're always trying to do as a real estate investor is raise money and um, buy new properties. And she said, "Oh, you mean just like you and Josh have started doing at the beginning of every one of your shows?" So without
yeah,
further
exactly.
ado,
Wonderful.
Josh, introduce the show and then
Absolutely.
give us your 30-second commercial.
Sure. So, welcome to the Build and Grow with Real Estate show. My name's Josh Weidman. This is my compatriot here, Judah Hoover. Every day at noon, we put on a live broadcast. Monday through Wednesday, we dive into education. Thursday, we typically have a guest about around the theme for the week, and then Fridays we cover the news and updates for the week. I'm a real estate investor and a hard money lender. If you're looking for funding on your next real estate investment project, give me a call. We are a direct lender, not a broker, which means hard money bankers can underwrite your deal on the same day that you contact us, and we can get the thing funded within 24 hours as long as title's done and your ducks are in a row. Look, we work. I'm on vacation this week, and even on vacation, I'm touching base with a lot of our active clients where we have loans that are ready to close. We got a great back end. So if you're looking to fund a project in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Northern Virginia, or Washington, D.C., give me a ring, 717-213-8488, or check us out online at hardmoneybankers.com. Let's talk to you, Judah, my co-host, with years of experience on me and a little less middle-aged than I am.
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Judah Hoover, as Josh said, and what I love doing is helping get people to the next level in their real estate investing career. I'm an executive at Slate House Group. We are a property management company. I'm also a realtor, so I can represent you with that. But I also have tons of contacts from property management companies, title companies, contractors to do the work. Um, and really, it doesn't have to be investment properties. Over half of the deals, 75% or more of the transactions that I've done for people have been primary residence type transactions. So I do a lot of investment properties, but the large majority of the real estate transactions that I get involved with are not an investment property. So give me a call, 717-766-7994, and let's get your house listed, or let's work on finding you your dream home. So
There we
we're going to
go.
go through some content today. We went through tons of content on Monday, tons of content on Tuesday. Josh and I were both just saying before the show that we probably
Covered
shared
a
a little
little
bit
too
too
much.
much
Yeah.
yesterday. So we get that. Please like and share the show. I love seeing that, we get 15 to 20 shares per day, and that is very, very meaningful. Appreciate that to everybody who likes and shares and comments as we go. Just so you know, Josh, I don't know if you can see comments and things like that, but Taz is jumping in here
Oh,
and saying that
beautiful.
he is, Taz is with us.
Yep.
And so, yeah. So just wanted to let you know that our one of our regular listeners, Taz, is here. All right, let's jump into content. I got to do this. I'm producing the show, not Josh, and I don't do
Holy
nearly as good a
mackerel.
job that
You
Josh
never you
does.
never know how good you really are until, somebody else does it, right?
Oh, you don't
When it
really
looks
know.
seamless.
I was gonna make it. I was gonna say it the other way, Josh. You don't realize how good you have it. Like I didn't realize how good I had it until you were making me do all this stuff. So please forgive any clunkiness or bumpiness as we get into this. So we've already talked about on Monday, we covered the process of listing your house from beginning to end with an agent. Yesterday, we talked about the importance of picking a high quality agent and
Yep.
how to go about that. And today, we are going to talk about best practices for selling your house at top dollar. A big part of the reason that we are doing this is because we understand that even though this sounds really basic for a lot of people, it's not basic for way more people than that. I was
Yeah.
just networking with somebody this morning, and they said, "Hey, Judah, after this networking meeting, give me a call." And I was talking to them. They're looking to do a deal where they are. I'm trying to get out of this for a
They're
second.
buying a commercial and
They're buying a
residential
commercial and
combo.
residential property. Yeah, absolutely. And so I just realized I should pull the slides down for this. So they're looking to buy a commercial for their business, and then there's two resis associated with it. And so they're going to kind of like commercial house hack.
Yep.
And they're like, but the guy's not motivated. I want to pay I want to pay like 60 and he wants 80. Those aren't the real numbers. So we're a little bit far on price, and I don't have the 20% down that I need to for his purchase price because I'm a business owner. I've never liked to pay cash or pay taxes. So I never hold on to a bunch of cash. I find out, come up with expenses and reinvest back into the business and just keep on growing the business. And I said, yeah, well, that's all well and good. I said, so just do a seller carried second. And he said, what?
Yeah.
I had to explain it to him like 3 or 4 times, and he still didn't understand what a seller carried second was. Now, I was able to get him there, but that just was new information to him. He's a wicked smart guy. He's a totally wicked smart guy. It's just that it was new information to him. He had
Yeah.
never seen or understood or known how to do a seller carried second. That's perfectly fine, perfectly acceptable. So there's a lot of this stuff that, some people think is basic that some people just, have never really been exposed to. So
Yeah.
let's jump into some content here for the day. It might seem simple, might seem basic, but
Sure.
it's really,
Well,
really critical.
we got to move forward on this with the assumption here that you've taken our advice to begin with, right?
Right.
That you've improved the property, or at least made the decision that, okay, I'm not doing the improvements or the upgrades, and because of that, I'm not going to expect the highest price.
Right.
You've gotten to the point where you found the best agent for you and your situation. They check all the boxes, everything looks good, even if it is, and I don't know, Aunt Janet, who has been an agent for 35 years. She's a rock star. We got a rock star that's about to list a house,
Right.
right?
So yeah, so absolutely. So what you need to do when you're looking to sell your house is it needs to be decluttered. You
Yeah.
have 2 times as much stuff in your house as what you should. So get rid of as many of the toys as possible. Put together and condense desks, and put papers in drawers. Remove any and all personal items from all horizontal surfaces. That means
Well,
countertops and coffee tables and floors and everything like that.
one big thing with this,
Yep.
think about this house as you're not selling the building. And one of the reasons, we talked about this last time, but one of the reasons that you take away personal photos and things like that is that you don't want these people to see your family in the home. You want
Right.
them to see their family in the home. So you're selling the lifestyle of 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. A private bath for the master suite. You're selling the idea of how simple and easy it is. So you got to make sure that the place is clean at the very least, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I think it even makes sense to pay a cleaner to
oh
come
heck yeah,
over $250 to $500 and say, listen, clean my house, whip down my baseboards, do everything like that. But then you also need to do all of this stuff before every showing as well. So
Yes.
I was over at a friend's house, who I go to almost every week, and they're neat freaks. Okay. But I made some reference to their trash can in their bathroom or whatever. And the husband said to me, have you ever seen a piece of trash in that trash can? And I was like, oh, that's what it was. Is they were like, what did you guys do today? Oh, we did this. We had to clean the bathroom. I was like, clean the bathroom. I said, guys, you're like spotless. Like, I can't imagine what you think your bathroom looks like before we get over here. And the husband said, Judah, have you ever seen a piece of trash in the trash can in the bathroom? And I was like, no, I haven't. So like for me, a trash can needs emptied when it's like 3/4 full, right? For him, a trash can needs emptied if people are going to be in my house. Like people
Got
should
it.
not see trash in a trash can. So you need to understand you're making your house as presentable to that top 3% of neat freaks out there. And therefore, everybody else will be impressed, and they probably will be impressed and they won't even know why they were impressed.
That's
Or
right.
they won't be turned off because you know what? Now I notice whenever I'm in anybody's house, I notice whether there's trash in the trash can or not. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And sometimes, but there's like other things that I notice, like paint. I mean, if your ceiling white comes down even just the littlest bit on your wall, I notice it, but I don't notice trash cans. So like what sucks is if you want to sell your house and this is just what it takes, you've got to worry about all the dishes out of the sink. You've got to worry about any smells or odors. You've got to worry about trash cans. You've got to worry about, paint that might be touched up because a little bit of it ran down. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be immaculate because everybody has their own hot button issues and everybody's minor hot button issue is different. And they all think that they are not that big of a deal, but you've got to hit all of them. So therefore, you've got to, before every showing, go
Yeah.
back through the house and make sure it looks perfect again. You want
Right.
to
And
remove all family photos, like Josh said. Yeah, I was just going to talk about staging, but go ahead, Josh.
well, that's where I was going to go. This goes back to like, look, think about the best use of of a room, not
Right,
necessarily what you're using it for. If you have
right,
a tiny bedroom that one of your kids sleeps in and that's why you're moving, like I get it. Yeah, I've been there, but you can't make it look like this tiny little bedroom. It's a huge office.
right.
You got to stage the place with the right furniture, not necessarily for function, but for sale.
Right. And if you're moving because you have your teenage son living in there and it's got, a big bed, but it works better as a nursery, stage it as a nursery or stage it
Yeah,
as an office or
right.
stage it as a sitting room or something like that. You know what I mean? Like stage it so that it looks best, either with your own stuff or, with rented furniture, whatever the case may be. That is what you've got to do. All right, was that police there in the background, Josh? Are they looking for you, or I
Keep
thought I
going,
heard a
Judah.
siren? All right, gotcha. So
Somebody's going 26 miles an hour on the boulevard instead of 25.
that is a problem. That is a problem. So I also like the point here that you make is use one bed and one dresser bedroom.
Right.
Pack up the other clothes or put the other clothes in a tub and put them underneath the bed.
Well,
Other ways you can get rid of clutter and stage rooms and things like that is your hanging plants are probably much more ugly than you think they are. All your decoration is probably much more ugly than you think it is. You probably should pull out, we touched on this on Monday, half the stuff that's in a closet and get rid of it or put it into
well,
storage so that you can show off how
wait,
big this is.
I want to change the context of what you're saying here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So say that you are a Pittsburgh Steelers fan,
Yeah.
right? But you live in Philadelphia,
Right.
or better yet, you're a Giants fan in Philly,
Right.
right? It doesn't matter if you have the coolest man cave around. If it's all decorated with Giants stuff,
Right.
there's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan that is going to be interested in putting their their man cave in this place.
Right.
So it's just a context thing. It's not that your stuff is ugly or junk or whatever. It's just your stuff, right?
Right.
Like
It's your
that's it.
stuff.
You're right.
Nobody else likes it as much as you do, which is why it's your stuff.
Yeah.
So the other thing is that to sell your house for highest and best is definitely you need to use a professional photographer. And if your agent doesn't have one, then you need to get yourself a new agent. Um, Plain and simple. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the two biggest things that you can control are what does my house look like and what is the listing price. And both
Yep.
of these things, you need to find an agent who is going to be brutally honest with you. And you need to be willing to have that agent be brutally honest with you. Listen, I have two women in my life whose fashion advice I take. And they are usually pretty critical and biting, and it doesn't always feel great. But guess what? I buy the clothes that they tell me to. I throw out the clothes that they tell me to, and I look pretty good. So when it comes time to listing your house with an agent, if an agent says the deck needs painted, spend the $50 on paint and spend a Saturday and paint the deck or hire a painter for $400. You know what I mean? If an
Yep.
agent says you need to get rid of half these toys that are in this playroom, find a place for half the toys to go and put the rest of them in a toy chest so that they're
Just
outside
pack
out.
them away. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, put the winter clothes away in the summertime.
right.
They
If
don't have
you
to be in your walk-in closet anymore.
Exactly. You need to be willing to take the advice of the expert and not just be like, no, it's okay. Last time I bought a house, there was XYZ in there and I didn't mind. So therefore other people aren't going to mind. That's not the way to think about this. You need to take the advice of the people that you're hiring. Same thing with sales price. You think your house is worth 105 and your agent thinks it's only worth 100. Well, don't list with the agent who says I can sell your house for 105, because they might be just telling you I can sell your house for 105, wishing and hoping and gambling, and by the time you find out that they were wrong, it's already too late. The other
Right.
agent might have been able to sell it for that too, or maybe they can sell it for 100, but with a whole lot less contingencies. So it's not all about sales price.
And
Getting the most sales price. It's about getting the right sales price.
well, and a lot of that is going to have to do with the type of market and the type of pricing. I don't know, negotiation
Strategy.
structure. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, I mean, right now we're in a seller's market, which means,
What does a
by
seller's market mean, Josh?
there we go. By definition, we're talking about 6 months of inventory based on the current demand of buyers.
Right.
And right now we have got much less than that. I think the average days on market are, I would bet, less than 30. If you're looking at a trailing 60-day marketplace, but I think that right now we're in a position where sellers really have the advantage. You got 5 or 6 people vying for each property. In a situation like that, you really want to price your offer in the best possible, in the best possible light, and to get the most amount of people walking through the door. Now, this can backfire if you're not careful, but if you say, all right, look, my reach on this property is, let's say, 275,000, but I'm pretty confident I can get 250 and that would be a good price.
Right.
Price the property at 249.9.
Exactly.
And you'll have 50 people lined up outside the door because they're thinking to themselves, I'd probably pay 275 for this place, but if I can get it at 250 or close, now you've got this competition going on, even if it's at a subconscious level.
Correct.
And you've got competing offers with escalation clauses, and next thing you know, you're getting 280 for that house.
Correct. You're going to bid it up. Or you're going to find out, you know what, I want more than 250 and I think 175 is my highest, but I want to negotiate from a position of strength, not a position of weakness, and maybe I can only get 160 for it. Well, guess what? You're going to find out if you list it at 149 whether you can get 164 or 260. You're going to find out if you can get in the 60s or in the 75s based on working up to that price instead of working down from the other direction. And when you work up to that price, because there was competing offers pushing it to that price, even though you're less than that 275 price you had in the back of your mind, you're in a position of strength where you are.
That's right. So
and so you can still be at above list price, less than your reach price, but still negotiating from a position of strength.
exactly. So the next type of market is a balanced market, and this is my favorite. This is my favorite situation to be in, when you have about the same number of buyers as sellers. Demand is just about right. And the reason I like this so much is because it's really easy to predict what's going to happen next, right? In that, if there's a downturn or an upturn in the housing market, it's going to be slight. It's not going to be this huge shift, typically speaking.
Right.
So in this type of market, I like to go into my flips or go into the sale knowing that I'm going to be priced a little bit below market and be nicer than my competition.
Right.
So, on a balanced market, I'm going to still get the multiple offers because I'm going to be priced a little bit below, but not so much that it's going to, appear like there's something wrong with the house.
Correct.
Right. So
you want to do just a little bit, just enough to make it stand out.
Exactly.
And so that you don't have to pull back on the price if you are so you don't have to pull back on the price if you're at the wrong spot.
Exactly. And then you've got a buyer's market, which I've sold out of. I know Judah probably made a lot of money. Yeah. I mean, so a buyer's market's great if you are moving into a property. If you're on the buying end, that's a great situation to be in. There's a lot more properties than buyers, and if you've got cash, a lot of times you're king. But on the flip side, if you're selling, the best thing to do if you're an investor going into and you're planning on exiting a property at this time frame, you're probably going to have to add some incentives.
Right.
And some incentives might be a flat screen TV installed and ready to go with your flip, or if you're adding
or you pay for the home inspection, what I mean?
Exactly.
Or you offer, or you say right up front that you're willing to consider seller's assistance with an appropriate offer. You don't say, you always put that tagline on there with an appropriate offer, because that means, maybe bump up the sales price a little bit. So there's things you can do to signal openness. The other thing that you want to do in a buyer's market is you want to be very clear with your agent about what you are willing to do and aren't willing to do, and like gun to your head, what would you sell this place? What would you be willing to sell this place for? I always ask everybody that. I say, Josh, what are you hoping to sell it for? And like gun to your head, what's the lowest you could sell it for? I'm working on commission, and I want you to be happy and thrilled and delighted and send me referrals. If you tell me, your gun to your head number is, $185,000, but really you want to be at 225, and I happen to bring you an offer right away at $195,000, that's going to tell you that I was more interested in just moving it quickly, and instead of not, you're not going to sell me, and you're not going to bring me in referrals. So it's very important to have that conversation in a buyer's market, and you're the seller. Hey, Mr. Agent, I'm willing to pay for the termite. I'm willing to do this, this, and this, or I'm not willing to do this, this, and this type of inspection. So let's just have that conversation right up front, so that your listing agent can negotiate on your behalf with the agent, and
on the fly. So you're not playing tag team with every negotiation.
Exactly. And so they can say, hey, you know what? My seller would accept an offer that looks like this, but maybe not that. Write it up this way. Don't write it up that way. And I can probably get them to accept that.
That's right.
That's what agents are for. Agents are allowed to if you give them the ability and the permission, they're allowed to disclose things for you, but they don't necessarily have to disclose, hey, by the way, I know he's willing to pay for a termite inspection. But if you tell them that you're willing to pay for a termite inspection, they can then, on the phone, they can decide when and how to bring that out in negotiations.
Yep.
So listen,
That's
I
awesome.
think that we have covered just a ton of great content here this week. Very happy about everything that we were able to get through. Josh, you make this all look like so much easier than than what it actually is. We're going to have my good friend Jeff Paulus on the air with
Yep.
us tomorrow.
That'll
And
be great.
Jeff is somebody who has done a ton of subject to deals. We were talking about some subject twos last week, and it's just a favorite financing technique of mine. So we're going to be talking to Jeff. He's an active real estate investor and a subject to guy. And then on Friday, we are going to be covering the news of the week. Now, Josh, I have a question. I mean, you've been kind of sequestered out there, sitting on the beach. Number one, have you been reading and following enough of the news to know what's going on? And number two, has this relaxing environment that you've put yourself in maybe put you in a slightly better mood to how you're interpreting and looking at the news?
It may have. I actually saw a couple articles over the last 2-3 days about like some positive news on the housing front for the long term. So I mean that's good. Maybe I'm just reading it in a better light. Who knows? But hey, look, we just keep motoring on. We're just reading the news, just the facts. Just the
absolutely.
facts.
All right, that sounds good. All right, we got it. We got a couple questions here. So Josh says, who does staging? And then, Taz then also says, can I hire that out if you aren't good at it? Yeah, you should call me, and I will introduce you to Lisa over at Blue something or other, Bluestone Staging. I want to say. I'm not sure. I'm butchering.
Judah, you know what I love about you?
Yeah.
You identify everybody by like your personal relationship with them. I think that's really cool. Like you couldn't remember the name of the business off the top of your head, but you knew exactly that you were going to call Lisa, and you probably have a personal experience with her that like links in your brain. I love that. I think that's great.
Not only that, just last week I toured a property because there was an agent who was listing something, and they said, Judah, you know everybody, and you're going to find me the buyer for this property. That's literally what they said. Judah, I have a 3-unit coming on the market. And even though it's a hot market, I want you in there a day ahead of time because you're going to be able to be the guy who finds me the agent for this or the buyer for this. And I did. I had 100 people to call. Anyway, the bottom line is I walked in there and I said, Lisa staged this house. It wasn't that I recognized like what she used or whatever, and it just was perfectly staged. And I'm a dude, and it wasn't that I recognized her style. It clicked for me. What's funny here is Jonna says Bluestone. Yeah, Jonna knows. I forgot how Jonna knows Lisa too. So maybe I introduced him. Maybe not. I don't know. Let me guess. Lisa's a dot, isn't she? That's how Jonna knows her. There's this women's group in Lancaster. I don't know if you know about it or not, Josh. It's like Polka Dot Power Group or something like that. There are a bunch of women networkers, and they all share agent referrals and stuff like that. So are agents required to act in your best interest? Yes, they are. Agents have a fiduciary responsibility. It's why agents refer to their customers as clients. I was talking with somebody who was like in the home decor business, and they did like home decorating and interior design, and they were all proud of themselves because they referred to their customers as clients. You don't want to do that. Attorneys have clients, realtors have clients, CPAs have clients. There's a reason why in the English language we have a term client and we have a term customer. When you use the term client, you are implying a fiduciary relationship. You do not have a fiduciary relationship with Lowe's. Lowe's does not disclose to you what their makeup is on their screws. Lowe's is allowed to, though hopefully they wouldn't do this, Lowe's is allowed to recommend brand X screw over brand Y screw because of a different margin that they have on the back end. That's what they're allowed to do. But when you are a client, all margins need to be disclosed. All exactly what I'm making on this transaction needs to be disclosed. And I am required to act in your best interest. So there is a difference between saying somebody is a client and saying someone is a customer. And if you call somebody your client because you want to sound more professional than you actually are, you're telling them I'm a fiduciary, and then you're expected to act in a fiduciary responsibility, whether you are or aren't. So don't go throwing away the term client unless you're willing to stand behind it and back it. Sorry, that's a little pet peeve of mine for free when Jonna asks, are agents required to act in your best interest? Yes, agents are required to act in your best interest, which is also why it's messy as a real estate investor versus a realtor. And with being a seasoned pro, you can do both, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's also why the Pennsylvania Department of Real Estate and really all departments of real estate hate what's called a net listing, which is when they say, hey, Josh, I'll list your house. A net listing is basically when an agent wholesales a property. Hey, Josh, I'll list your house for $100,000 and I'll keep anything over $100,000. That's a net listing. Even if you disclose that you're doing that, I'm disclosing that I'm not acting in your best interest, and I'm disclosing it, so it technically is legal, moral, and ethical. The Department of Real Estate just hates it because what they don't understand is whether or not you're getting, well, should you have done your net listing at 120? You know what I mean? Were you taking advantage of them for where you set that net listing? So there are times when an agent won't act in their best interest, but it's disclosed up front. So anyway, listen, guys, that is all the content and information that we have for today. So please keep on writing in with the questions. If you want any of these slides from this week, all you have to do is reach out to me or Josh, and we will get those over to you. And we will be.
Kaz, I owe you slides from 2 weeks ago, man. I'm sorry. Call me tomorrow. I'll make sure it's in your inbox.
All right, everybody.
Falling down on the job.